Here is Chapter 4 of the book Passage to Fortune. You will find the vocabulary and the comprehension questions in the description for this video. The first chapter is called A Scoundrel, a Storm, and a Sailor's Life. "Get up, you scoundrel!" a voice bellowed. I opened my eyes to find a man staring down at me. The candle he held illuminated his bulbous eyes and thick reddish beard. His eyes narrowed. "Get up, you hear me?" I scrambled to my feet, but the rocking ship threw me off balance, and I plunged against the sailor's shoulder. He shoved me backward and grabbed both my wrists with his meaty paw. "We don't take kindly to stowaways," he growled, dragging me to the ladder. My rat friends scuttled away from our feet. The sailor pushed me up the ladder, and I had no choice but to climb. I popped through the trap door into the bright sunshine. After countless hours in the dark hold, I couldn't adjust to the searing light. I was blind and staggering. "What'd you find down there, Jean-Luc?" a voice hollered. "Just some trash," my captor answered. He tossed his candle to the deck and grabbed my shoulders. "You know what we do with trash?" he hissed in my ear. "We toss it overboard." I felt the railing against my chest. I blinked. I could see again, and what I saw was the roiling sea below me, ready to swallow me up. "Wait!" I cried. "Do you know who I am?" "Don't care," mattered Jean-Luc. "I'm Samuel de la Loire, son of Royal Duke Michael de la Loire." "By my knuckles you are," Jean-Luc said, shoving me against the railing again. "My father will have you hanged if you throw me overboard," I said, in as confident a tone as I could muster. Another sailor marched toward us. "Hold on, Jean-Luc," he said, eyeing me up and down. He could be telling the truth. Look at his clothes. They aren't the clothes of a beggar. Jean-Luc released his grip, giving me a small kick in the shin. His face was red as a grape. Anger steamed from his ears. "Stay out of it, Henry," he barked. "He's just a kid," Henry said, "and we could always use another pair of hands." Jean-Luc kicked me again. "Aristocrat or not," he said, "you'll be getting no special treatment on this ship. Get to work." "Follow me," Henry said. As I followed him across the deck, I looked around. All ocean as far as I could see. Adventure and fortune awaited me. I could taste it in the salty air. I didn't imagine the seafaring life to be quite like this. I always thought a sailor's life was adventurous and thrilling, steering vessels through uncharted waters, bucking through the eye of a storm, watching sea creatures leap in the distance, but it was hard work, and a lot of it. Henry showed me the ropes, so to speak. I was assigned about 100 chores every day: scrub the deck, clean up after meals, oil the masts, man the winches, and I was at the beck and call of every sailor on board. I had to do whatever they told me. And I was at the mercy of Jean-Luc Bruel. Jean-Luc took personal pleasure in ordering me about. "Aristocrat," he barked one day. "Fetch the oil rags from the hold." I dropped down into the hold. I searched and searched for the rags, but they were nowhere to be found. When I returned to the deck, trembling in fear of a punishment, I found Jean-Luc laughing and tossing the missing oil rags into the air. "Couldn't find them, eh?" he chortled. "Ease up," one of the other sailors called, but he was laughing too. I looked over at the Grand Hermine as it bobbed in the waves, the smaller Emeralon behind it. If only I'd chosen one of those ships to sneak aboard, I wouldn't have to deal with Jean-Luc. I've made the wrong decision. It was the first of many. The sea never rests, and neither did we. We slept only 4 hours at a time, and even then my sleep was just a light doze on a hard mat. My body ached all over. After just a week at sea, my fine trousers were greased and stained, my nose sunburned, and my palms crisp with blisters. I'll admit, I was miserable. I longed for my own bed, a cook to make my meals, and a hot, steamy bath. I even missed Pierre St. Clair's constant watch and worry. One night, I was sleeping as peacefully as I could when the ship lurched forward, knocking me off my mat. All of a sudden, the crew was in a frenzy, leaping from their mats and shouting orders. I got to my feet. Hard, blustering wind and shards of rain battered my face. We were in a brutal storm. I stood, clinging to the railing, not knowing what to do, as the other sailors scurried around me. All I really wanted to do was drop down into the hold and huddle there until the storm was over, but I didn't want the crew to think I was scared. "Lower the sails," Henry cried. He turned to see me standing helplessly, and he flung a rope in my direction. "Grab the end," he shouted, "and hold tight." I closed my hands around the end of slippery rope as Henry mounted the mast. The rope knotted around his waist. The ship bucked under my feet. The soles of my boots were too smooth, meant for a gentleman, not a sailor. "Drat these boots," I thought as I slid backward wildly, holding fast to the rope. The rope snapped tight, and in the swirling rain, I saw Henry look down at me, alarmed. The rope tugged him off balance, and he clung to the mast. "Let go," he shouted. But I couldn't let go. If I did, I'd be knocked over the side of the railing. Should I save myself or save Henry? The ship pitched violently, and I slid along with it. I watched in horror as Henry tumbled from the mast to the deck below. Too late, I let go of the rope, and I tumbled end over the railing and to my certain death. The sky and sea closed around me, and the world turned black. And that was chapter 4. Look in the description for vocabulary words and comprehension questions for this chapter.